What is up, my friends? Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm kind of streaming this a little differently this morning. Probably the wrong thing to do. Experiment live. Hope everybody's having a good morning this Wednesday. It's a good day for me. It's my one day off out of the week. So I'm actually here in my physical studio. Built this thing and I get to use it once a week. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. I see, Rebecca, you asked, did I find out Candace's real name? Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you saw the video I did. It is looking more and more like Candace J. Ramey. And her age, she lied about. It's funny you bring that up because I received an email from somebody yesterday. And I haven't went too far into it. But this individual had said that they found old Reddit posts where people had screenshots of Candace actually referring to herself with the last name Ramey. And this was years and years and years ago. So far I think we are heading in the right direction when it comes to discovering who the real Candace Owens is. It's so odd to me. It's so odd to me. Hope everyone's doing good, man. I guess you all saw Massey lost, which I think is a huge tell to people like Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and MTG Marjorie. You know, they think they have such an influence, right? They influenced, all right. They influenced in the opposite direction. So he lost, and I'm happy about that. That man is not who he says he is. I can promise you that. So what's everyone up to this morning? This is a full Q&A. We can talk about anything, guys. We can talk politics. We can talk religion. We can talk social issues. We can talk movies. Is the actual episode of Hunter Biden, is it on there now? I thought she wasn't releasing it till Thursday. What a loser, man. You know, how do people not see this stuff? Right, Susie? Right? 0 for 5, Tucker. Nobody is listening to you. I have said that from the beginning. That the only people they attract are the low IQ people, and those are the people we don't want around anyway. Right? But yeah, to bring on Hunter Biden, you know, I'm loving this loose conversation. And it's only started. To bring on Hunter Biden, it really shows. I just don't see how people can't see it. She associates. Who is Ale? Ale showing up to debate you. Oh, I think are you talking about that person on X? Yeah, we're setting up a time. I see she wants to do it next Wednesday, but I had the opportunity to do a really good interview next Wednesday, so I've got to see. Because this woman works during the day, this Ale, I guess, and I know she blocked off some time. I just got to see if that's going to affect the interview, but hopefully not, and I'll be doing that debate on Wednesday, but we'll see. But you know, you got Candace associating, defending Andrew Tate, Harvey Weinstein, Russell Brand, having, you know, a man that she destroyed completely. Yeah, have Hunter Biden, you know, she hated his guts. This is just showing you how desperate she is. Yeah, Caitlin, I've had 2 or 3 people that I can recall have reached out. 2 haven't responded back to me about a time they could do it. 1 has. That's who we were just talking about. This Ale woman. I think we're talking about the same person on X. It's hard to get all these. Nobody uses real names anymore, you know, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, I have, as far as April Chapman's concerned, I sent an email right after yesterday's show. As of right now, let me double check. as of this morning, she hadn't replied. I'm checking my email now just to see if maybe she has. No, nothing yet. But the invitation has been thrown out there. It'd be great to have her on, just to get her perspective. But I actually had somebody reach out to me last night. I'm not going to say their name because I'm not sure whether I read them wrong or not. But this person is the daughter of somebody who's been kind of in the limelight recently. And she sent me a personal message thanking me for the stuff I'm doing for her father. And I kind of shot a message back, well, like, hey, you know, I think my factivists would enjoy you coming on the show and talking about that. You know, talking about your father and defending him. And I'd love to have you on. So we'll see. That would be a great interview as well. Good morning, Teresa. You know, this is kind of fun just going live without anything prepared. You guys get to see my real studio. You know, I only get in here once a week. Wednesdays are my day off for now. And I set up this whole studio, lighting and everything. Got my awesome background here. And it's just a shame I get to use it once a week. Jordan Peterson, I'd love to have on the show. I've always looked to Jordan Peterson. I probably watch something of his daily. I think that's safe to say. Motley Crue. Hey, I love that name. You're talking to an 80s metal guy here. I appreciate that, Motley Crue. Anything that I mean, if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. No harm, no foul. But I'd love to have her on. Anybody who's on our team, on the good guys side, I definitely want to platform. You know, not many people are doing it for me, but oh well. I'm not judging them for that. I'm just a different kind of person. If I can help people out, I'm going to. That's just who I am. And Rebecca, we're glad to have you as a factivist too. You know, I was telling my wife last night that or maybe it was the other night. It's so humbling, you know, to see this growing as fast as it's growing, and because I was worried, I really was. I'm actually wearing the original Fax Me t-shirt. When I first launched Fax Me, this was kind of my just really quick whip up logo, because I really honestly didn't have a lot of faith in it. You know, I saw what was going on out there with the podcasters and the commentators, you know, Tucker and Megan and Candace and Jesse on Fire and Baron Coleman, you know, these people that are just the scum of the earth. And I'm like, how am I going to compete with that? These people have millions and millions of followers. You know, who's going to want to hang out with the facts? But you know what? We did it, and here we are. Yeah, I saw Ozzy in, was it 95? I think I saw Ozzy in 95. It was his Osmosis tour. That was a great show. Pantera was with him. Prong was with him. It's good stuff. How long has Fax Me been going? That's kind of a... it depends on how you look at it. As a brand, Fax Me has been going since last August. I started it as a podcast only in August, which is just now completely defunct. I don't have time to do both a video thing and a podcast thing. Not right now anyway. But it started as a podcast, and I think I was only streaming it on Podbean. And, of course, through Podbean, that went to Spotify and Apple and Amazon Music. And then it kind of got into September, and I was like, man, I'm so visual. I'm so video-oriented. I love video production. I just need to make Fax Me video. And that's when I kind of converted it all to video starting in September. But when I say it's kind of depends on how you look at it, is I've been doing this for years, just not under the Fax Me brand, if that makes sense. It was kind of just material I'd bring into other podcasts I was on or other podcasts I was doing myself. Back when I was doing Ghost Story Paranormal podcasts, I would even bring political things into that. At one point, right before the months leading up to Fax Me, I initially called it Working Class News. And then I just thought that was too stale, just too news oriented. I'm trying to get us away from these news people. And then I started going with what did I call it? Existence X, because I wanted Existence X. That's what it was called. It was something that encompassed everything that we could talk about: social issues, entertainment, politics. And I just wasn't feeling it. And then one day I was sitting here and I was watching Candace, and I yelled at the screen, "Can you just fax me? Give me an actual fact." And that's how Fax Me was born, basically. Yeah, Jordan Peterson is awesome. My grandson, guys, I appreciate all of those prayers last night. That I told my wife I couldn't believe it, because she sent me the picture of the helicopter. I was at work. She was down at the hospital and said they're airlifting him out. Long story short on that is, he's been dealing with brain cancer for almost 11 years now. He'll turn it was one of those risky things where the tumor was on his optic nerve, and it was a do we or don't we type surgery, where if we go in to take it out, one of two things could happen. He could die or he could come back a vegetable. And it was getting to the point where the boy was having no life. He couldn't function. And we got together as a family and said, "Hey, let's do it. God's telling us, let's do it. Let's do this surgery." And he did the surgery 2 years ago, and they got most of the tumor out. Now, the pictures you guys have seen of him in the wheelchair and being pretty immobile was after the surgery. Before the surgery, he could walk, he could run, he could play, he could use the bathroom. He was pretty much, aside from the pain of cancer, a normal operating kid. But after the surgery, that's what put him in the wheelchair state that he does physical therapy for. He can walk. It's just hard on him. But what kind of pisses us off is he has to go to Chapel Hill every so often for his MRIs and CAT scans and stuff. And they had been doing it every 3 months. Well, the last time they said, "Hey, everything's looking good. Let's wait and do it every 6 months." Well, yesterday he just seemed off, and my wife is retired from the medical field, so she knows the signs of all this stuff. She was actually the one that told me Charlie wasn't going to make it, because I had sent her the video immediately after seeing it, and she said there is no way that man is going to survive that, because her specialty was wound care. And I was like, man. But Tanner wasn't feeling good yesterday, and he was going in and out of consciousness. They took him to the local hospital, ran some scans, and found out that the tumor came back. It has shifted. It is 18 millimeters. It's pushing on his shunts, which has stopped his shunts from working. And the shunts, if you aren't familiar with what those are, that drains the fluid coming out of that area. So now he is up in Chapel Hill. I don't know a lot at this moment. I got an update from my wife this morning that it's grown, it's come back, it's shifted, it's pushing on the shunts. And in her opinion, she says we're looking like another surgery and chemo again. So that full stop is where we're at the moment. But I appreciate you guys. It was amazing to me to make a post last night asking for prayers, and how fast they all came in, and just hundreds of likes on something in a matter of minutes. That really got me, guys. I appreciate that. So let's move on for that. I don't want you all seeing sensitive Steven. But so anyways, what's next, guys? What do we want to talk about? But I do appreciate all your prayers and everything. I'm sitting here looking at this comic. Oh, I don't know if any of you guys are into comics, but I got this Uncanny Tales #1 signed by Stan Lee. Super awesome. And that's a good grade, man. 9.2 on a 1973 comic. Yeah. One day, I think we talked about this. One day I'm going to show you guys my entire collection. I've got a Star Wars arcade cabinet right here. I got Voltron. So much horror stuff. Oh, my God. I love collecting things, man. So where do we want to go from here, guys? What do we talk about? I'm happy Massey's out. That's good. It really showed that these influencers have no control or influence. Go figure. They're the de-influencers. This t-shirt you can't get anymore. This, as I was saying earlier, this one actually my wife made me. She's into all of that, what do they call that stuff? I mean, she's on, I can't, anyways, this is machines and stuff. I'm always buying her parts for it and supplies for it. I can't think of, what are you doing, Tommy? I can't think of what the stuff's called now. Cricut, that's it. She does a lot of Cricut, and this was the first logo I had whipped up. And she said, hey, I can make you a t-shirt. And she made me this t-shirt for when I was getting ready to do the first wave of videos. Cat, you're not eating my cord, fool. Beat it, nerd. Beat it, nerd. Yeah, thanks. I love doing the Candace music videos. You know, I've always been a musician. I started guitar, piano, and drums when I was 5 years old. I grew up in a very musical family. I play by ear, but I also studied music theory. And, you know, I've got my band that I've been doing since 1998. But we released our last album 2 years ago. And, you know, I'm always looking for ways to write music, perform music. That's just something I've constantly got to do. And bringing the parody stuff in it's new to me because my music was always serious. But it's fun at the same time because I'm doing all these old songs that I like anyway. And I'm just rewriting the lyrics to suit Candace or whatever I'm doing a parody of. But no, Tracy, she doesn't make the shirts that you're seeing that I'm selling. YouTube has suggested using a company called Spring, and that's who I'm going through for those. I have yet to even order one of them myself. I just did what YouTube told me to do. I made the designs, put it up there. You know, I don't see anybody's information. I don't handle the actual transactions. The Spring company does. You know, so from what I've heard from people who bought them, they're great quality shirts. But no, this one was a one-off. So, yeah, you know, Megyn Kelly really disappointed me too. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. That's a good segue to something. Is they come to us, or they come to the Fax Me camp, and in their mind, they just see a bunch of haters of Tucker, Candace, and Megan and, you know, other people. But I can't speak for you guys. I'm not a hater. I don't hate these people. You know, but the point they need to understand is I used to follow all of them. I used to follow Megyn Kelly up until she refused to go against Candace over the Erica Kirk thing. That's when I was just done. Completely done. I didn't always agree with her to begin with, but I never had an issue with her. Tucker, I never really cared for Tucker. He was always just obnoxious to me. Always that shady car salesman type. That weasel kind of laugh. And I never got in him anyway. But Candace, and you know, I don't want to blame Charlie for this. Because it was up to me whether to follow Candace or not. But the only reason I ever even heard of Candace was because of Charlie. He platformed her, and he had nothing but good things to say about her. So I'm thinking, how can Charlie be wrong, right? And Candace was kind of fine in moderation. You know, when she would start just showing her immaturity, that's when I would turn it off with the whole drama thing. And then once she started getting out of actual news, and it's even like Victor Marx said to her on her show last night, is you used to be a good show, which is true, you know. And then you just turn to this one man, The View is basically what she is, you know. And I wasn't interested in all that. I wasn't interested in a French president's wife having a penis or not. You know, I'm not interested in Kanye. I'm not interested in all these pedos and rapists and sex predators that she hangs out with. I'm not interested in her drama. And she lost me, man. She lost me, and I backed away quietly until the Charlie Kirk thing. Once that Charlie Kirk thing happened with her, it was over. I was done. Done. Let me tell you. This is fun, guys. I'm literally sitting here drinking out of a 2-liter. I put up my little sign. I wasn't giving you guys that screenshot. Look, Faxme's drinking out of a 2-liter. Anyway. Yeah, she really is Molly Cruel. She really is, man. But it's borrowed time, guys. We're seeing it. I mean, we're seeing it slowly collapsing every day. Every day. And that whole Victor Marx thing last night, I was sitting there watching it live. And I'm like, this is just too good. So I hit screen record, man. And well, you guys saw the video. It's like, this is just way too awesome. And I think you're right, Tracy. I think you're absolutely right. I can't remember if I said it in a post, but I said it in a show, an episode maybe. But I think you're right on it. That Candace has dirt on all these people because all of these butt pirates all hung together. You know, they were besties, and you can cool best believe they were sharing their demons with each other. You know. And I'm talking about Candace and Tucker and Megan. And I think you're right. They know that Candace isn't a person to trust. And I think some of these other influencers that she has used are starting to see that. You know, they leaked information to her or gave her information or affirmed something she said. And she was all for them until they get nailed or she gets served papers and then she starts throwing them under the bus. So I think you're absolutely right. I think Candace has dirt on Megyn Kelly because she just, it's like somebody flipped a switch in her, man. There was no seeing that coming. You know, it's really odd to me. Oh yeah. Well, you know, Lilac, the thing about it is if you go back historically and look at her pattern, she uses people until she can't use them anymore. You know, Alex Jones to help her with her conspiracy liberal stuff, then went to Charlie Kirk when she saw there was profit with being a conservative, then went to Ben Shapiro, again fired from all of these, Prager. You know, she's always found some rich white man to try to use and platform her. Candace would not be where she's at now without any of them. She would have never been able to pull this off independently. She's too egotistical to pull things off independently. That's why she needs all this money and bots and stuff to do it. But the Hunter Biden thing, I think it's just to get clicks. She is about to go bankrupt, guys. I mean, you got Brian Harpole suing her. You've got the Macron thing we're going to get an answer on here in a few weeks. You know, once Tyler Robinson's convicted, more defamation suits are going to come out from individuals of Turning Point USA. So I think right now she's in panic mode. Who can I bring on that is just going to bring the views? And you know, guys, it absolutely tickled me. Tickled me last night on how blind her followers are. I was watching that live with her and Victor Marx. And he is blatantly calling her out, blatantly slamming her, but her audience took it the complete another way. Oh, Candace is winning. Did you hear what Candace said? You guys are morons. But the sickening part, every 3 or 4 chat messages, guys, was a payment. $199, $19.99, $99.99, $300. These people, the entire time I was sitting there streaming that for you guys, were dropping hundreds to thousands of dollars in just 20 minutes. That is absolutely disgusting to me. That, first off, they're believing everything that she says. Secondly, they're just throwing this money out. And like I said, it's not just a couple bucks. These people are future voters. You know what I'm saying? She has successfully pulled in a very large, strong leftist audience. But the great thing about the leftist audience is they don't have loyalty. And they showed it back in December. When Candace met with Erica and she came back from that meeting and decided she was going to flip the script and move on from Erica, her fans went nuts on her, man. They were attacking her left and right, calling her weak and call, oh, she's been bought. Oh, now she's got the 7,000. Erica bought her. Blah. Dude, they flipped on her like it was nothing. So the next day she went right back to the Erica Kirk slam job. And you just said it, Susie, giving money to a multimillionaire. She has over $1 million in just vehicles. A $12 million, she has 2 houses, one of which is worth $12 million. Not to count all the money they're hiding other places. Not to count his $250 million bank account. She is literally using her fans to pay for her lawsuits, I should say. What did I tell you, Kat? Yeah, the Temu TMZ thing was great. I think the other day I called her the Kmart of podcasting. The GoBot of podcasting. The great value brand. Oh, dude, I've seen more than $500 in super chats. I've seen people drop thousands. There was that one guy that dropped 50 grand in there that one time. I was like, are you freaking kidding me, man? I don't get it. I do not get it. Plus, we're not even counting the money she's making off of those streams. It has been calculated she's made about $60 million off of streaming the Charlie Kirk story, or her made-up story. $60 million off of Charlie Kirk alone. That's not counting the advertising. That's just the views and all the people paying her, and I just don't get it. But I see a huge crash out in the future. You're starting to kind of see it when you watch her episodes. She's not very good at hiding her emotions in her face at all. Blue light special. Yeah. But she's not good at hiding them. And, I'm not either, really. If something upsets me, I can't hide it on my face. There's no doubt about that. I appreciate that, Amy. I try, I've done video production and audio production my whole life. And that's what I keep telling you guys. I'm doing this while working almost 2 full-time jobs a week. I'm working 72 hours at my normal job. And I'm there from 7 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. Then it's 40 minutes home, 40 minutes there. Wednesday is my only day all day that I have time to actually sit in here. So every other thing you guys are seeing, I'm actually streaming from work. I just put an American flag backdrop up behind me, So I can only imagine, as I've said before, if I can get FaxMe to a full-time gig, the production level is just going to go up even more. I mean, you guys see what I'm doing now with the little time to do it. And that's because, and this isn't a pat on the back to myself, it's just production comes so naturally to me, and music and art, that, A, it's not even work, but I can whip through it really fast. Like, I mean, for instance, look at last night. I turn on Candace's live, and within just a few minutes, I have you guys a 20-minute video from that while it's still live. So I've got a system down. I can pump things out pretty fast, which leaves more room to spend on creativity, which I really enjoy. I don't know, Debbie. I don't know. You did catch a live Q&A, K-Shay. You just got done watching the Every Breath You Take. I know, man. That one was fun to do. My favorite one to sing, though, was the White Snake one. Because I'm just a huge 80s metal guy. And my voice, I can make my voice into a lot of different things. Like, I can do Alice in Chains to the T. I can do Pink Floyd to the T. I can do the Beatles, Journey, a lot of the 80s guys. Jeff Tate's a little bit of a struggle from Queensryche. I have to usually transpose the music a little higher because I can't hit that low register like he does. But yeah, any 80s song I can turn into a parody. I have a blast with it. A total blast with it. I've actually worked on some 80s cover songs of my own that one day I'll release to you guys. Yeah, that I did a White Snake one, man. It's Here I Lie Again. Here I Lie Again on my own. That one was kind of funny. I have thought about doing some Motley Crue. Like, don't go away mad, just go away. Right? Isn't that what we all think about Candace? Just don't go away mad, just go away. Of course, we all know she shouts at the devil. 80s were the best, man. I have never left them. I've got a huge vinyl record section over there. I'm looking at Kermit the Frog is sitting on it. I'll get a Crew parody done, man. I will. Those kind of parodies, I generally do the recording on my days off when I've got a parody. Because that kind of stuff takes time. I've got to warm up my voice. The music stuff comes easy. Just grab one of my guitars, do that. I've got a Roland electronic drum kit. I do the drums for, piano, all that stuff. Well, the thing about Candace is this is what I find funny, and I don't mean this to be a dig. But these mainstream influencers and podcasters, they have an entire production team. They have somebody running sound. They have somebody running the multiple cameras. Somebody running the stream. People in their chats. They've got this whole team. And that's the best they can do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the best you can do? You've got a whole team. But the difference between me and Candace is Candace can't do anything on her own. She can't write. She can't produce anything. So that's why she's literally reading what somebody else has written for her off of a teleprompter. That's why she can't pronounce the words. That's why she doesn't even know what most of those words mean. She's literally just doll herself up, walk in, sit down behind that, and then her guys are taking care of the rest. Period. Livewire. Yeah, it's a good tune. You probably liked Kicks, too. You remember Kicks? I think they were one of the most underrated 80s bands, man. You said Livewire, and that got me thinking of Hotwire. Kicks was good. Old Stevie Whitman grew up in my hometown, where I'm from. Met him dozens of times. All right, had to do another 2-liter swig, my friends. Yeah, Sarah, Candace does that stuff all the time. She'll say she's going to show this, that, or the other thing, or she says she's going to retract something, and then that day never comes. You know? I mean, clearly. We've been waiting on a lot of that for 8 months. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm starting. Yeah, Motley Crue. I agree. They never got the fame they deserved. Kicks really, that Blow My Fuse album and the Hotwire albums, even Midnight Dynamite, those were good. And Stevie had such a unique voice. And they had the goods, man. They had the goods. You know, I kind of compare Kicks to, like, not musically, but, you know, like to White Lion. It's like they had good stuff. I think it was just timing. It was really timing. And I think a lot of Kicks' problem was they just didn't have the image, man. They didn't have the image. But that's just my opinion. But what I was saying something, now I lost track because of 80s metal. You can get me every time. Summer, my birthday's in September. September 8th to be exact. I'm a Virgo through and through, so they say. Same day every year. September 8th. I'm going to be the big 49 this year, guys. That's 1 year away from the 50. Oh. Hey, Debbie, there's nothing wrong with Zeppelin at all. I can tell you that. Going off the rails of the Egyptian plains. That's right. That was good stuff. I'm having a hard time, I'm telling you guys, with not the trolls who actually impress me. Like, I'll be the first one to laugh at a troll comment if it's funny. But it's the ones that hide. Have you seen these people? Like, no profile picture, or it's just some random picture. Probably not even using their real name. You can't see anything on their profiles. So they're either a bot or just a chicken. You know? Because I'm getting... You guys have no clue. You guys see the troll comments on the posts. But if I could show you my inbox, my messenger, holy crap. The threats I get... The threats you guys get, and you don't even know it. And I'm getting these messages. It's like, this is what you people do? This is what you people do? You sit and hide behind a fake Facebook profile to attack other people because you don't have the balls to do it in public. You don't have the balls to come on this show and do it. I'm pretty accessible, guys. I don't think anybody can deny that. I have offered it up I don't know how many times. Just know it's going to stay respectful. I'm going to give you time to talk. I'm not going to talk over you, and you're not going to talk over me. And then I'm going to talk, and then you're going to talk. But if you come in here with stupid, you're getting the axe. If you come in here yelling, if you come in here denying facts, you're getting the axe. You have to be willing to accept a fact, and if you won't accept that fact, there's no need to even debate. I tend to not. I've stayed pretty firm in not deleting comments. I do draw a line if it is an attack, like a really disgusting attack on one of you guys. I'll delete it. If it is promoting pedophilia, which we keep seeing for some reason, I will delete it. If somebody refers to me or any of you guys as pedos or pedo protectors and I see it, I will delete it. You can come on here and you can say anything you want to say as an opinion. But don't come in here calling people you don't know pedo protectors without any factual information. I kind of draw the line with that stuff. But everything else, I mean, people are going to disagree, and that's okay. You know, sometimes that leads to great conversation, you know. She needs new lawyers. She really does. But really, honestly, all the lawyers are going to determine is how much she's going to end up paying. Because there is no way she is going to win a defamation case. Oh, my God, the things she has said. And the people that I know of who are waiting until Tyler Robinson is found guilty to file their suits. This woman is going to end up leaving the country. She's going to have to. How is her ego? I think one of these losses, who knows which one will come first, whether it's the Macron case or it's going to be the Harpole case. Because isn't it July? I think is what I reported on, that I know June is Macron, Harpole is July, but it's not it's nothing major. It's just a hearing to get things started. She's going to request a dismissal, even though she plays tough and says that she's not going to. She will file for a dismissal. But I think her attorneys are basically they're just going to try to settle all this for less money, which I wouldn't. I'd just go completely. But I think what's going to happen is she's going to lose the first one. And, I mean, she's right there on the edge now. I mean, we got this woman on video, acting like a psycho, talking about stabbing people to see if they're robots or not. What world are we living in? Robots. We ain't there yet. Come on. Especially ones that look that good. Oh, you can guarantee, Rebecca, they've got property out of this country. You can guarantee that. Yes, that is right, Debbie. The secret is to stay young. Stay young at heart. Keeps you honest. Keeps you innocent. I know my grandkids love me. I'm the toy and comic guy, and I'm getting them into all the 80s toys. My one grandson, he's real big into Masters of the Universe and Spider-Man and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I love showing him all that old stuff. I have heard that about Elizabeth Lane. I've heard of other people too. Candace, this whole thing has been trying to get Tyler off. She needs Tyler Robinson to be innocent. She absolutely needs him to. Whether that's because she's tied to it in some way, because, that rumor has been going around since the whole Bride of Candace thing. Were the farmers involved in some way? Is that why she needs Tyler to be innocent? Or I know she needs Tyler to be innocent because if he's proven guilty, that completely 100% makes all of her claims false, which we all know they are anyway, but now it's legal. So a defamation suit's in and out, lock and stock at that point. Because that proves everything she had been saying was a lie. It was fabrication. So I just don't see Tyler getting out of this. I just don't. And it does concern me. The one thing that does concern me is the jury. And I'll tell you why. One of the girls I work with is a full-blown psycho leftist. She's one of those that scream on her TikTok, nothing's ever her fault. Just no accountability whatsoever. And a couple weeks ago, she said that she got the call for jury duty. And I had said to one of my colleagues, there is no way that they're going to put this woman on a jury. She's too leftist, man. She's psycho, right? There's no way. Because this is a murder trial that she's going to be a juror on. Well, they picked her. They absolutely picked her. And so now she's out of work for the jury, to be on the jury. And I'm thinking, that's scary. That is scary. It's like, did they not go to her TikTok and see her videos of threatening people, see her videos talking crap about Charlie Kirk? It's like, you put this woman on a jury for a murder trial? That's the stuff that scares me. Is that they really need a great filter process to make sure they're not getting blue playbook conservatives. You guys hear me say that all the time. These people that are pretending to be the right, but they're really the left to infiltrate the right. I hope there aren't some psycho leftists that fool their way onto that jury. I really do. Man, I'm killing this 2-liter, y'all. Oh, Shay, I know. The whole Israel thing, the $7,000 thing, the Epstein. It's like, why can't people just not like someone because they have their reasons? Right? So nobody, the Candace cultists can't fathom that people wouldn't, the only people that don't like Candace are being paid to not like her. That's like the dumbest philosophy in the world. Period. There is absolutely nothing. No amount of money. No nothing. No nothing that I would take to say the opposite of what I believe. And I wish more people had that attitude. Don't sell out, people. Man, it's easy to see. It depends on the scene, Rocco, to be honest with you. It depends on the location. There are a lot of factors and variables into that. This was done on a university campus, you know. I can't say why they would or why they wouldn't. I think Rocco, I think a lot of these questions that people have that are on the side of the naysayers is because of Candace. And Candace says it, and she makes up. And here's the thing. If you go look up anything she has said, it all comes back a lie. It's not verified. It's not truth. Anything. Okay, so when she plants these things like, oh, they concreted this over to hide tunnels that assassins were running down and popped out of that nobody saw, right? This puts that thought in, and then the Baron Coleman's roll with it, and the Jesse's on Fire roll with it. Candace lit the fuse, they roll with it, then more people hear it, and then you all think it's fact. It's not. You know, it's like the whole hand signal thing, or this guy shifted his glasses, or this person put his hand in his pocket. You could literally do that with any scene from anything at any time. Anywhere. Let's say there's some shooting out in the street today and it's on video. Anybody could say, did you see that one guy scratch like that right before it happened? It's reaching. It is reaching, guys. There is nothing. Whether you like her or not, this is a factual statement. There is absolutely nothing in 8 months that Candace Owens has proven. Nothing. And just take a moment. Go to ChatGPT. Go to Google. Go whatever. Just Google it. Google what she says, and it will tell you it's a lie. But the problem with her followers is they don't care. They do not care about the truth. If they cared about the truth, they wouldn't be following Candace Owens. That's right, JC. No amount of money is worth liking Candace Owens. And you know they're all working behind the scenes. I mean, Nick, Candace, they're all one tight little group that gets together. Baron Coleman, Jesse on Fire, they have their little text exchanges. And see, now that right there, I'm glad I said that. That is something Candace really, really needs to worry about. You know, she keeps boasting this discovery thing. She clearly does not understand what discovery is and how it works. She's trying to convince her audience that she's going to have access, due to this Brian Harpool lawsuit, that she's going to have access to all of the turning point evidence and all this, that, and the other thing that has to do with Charlie Kirk. Not true at all. The only thing she's going to be able to access through discovery is the Brian Harpool stuff, because that's what the lawsuit's about. But Brian's got the upper hand. In all reality, Brian's got the upper hand because his discovery is her emails, her phone records, anything done on that laptop of hers, all of her production notes, all of that can be subpoenaed. It can be brought in. And that's where Candace's problem is going to start. That's where these texts between her and Baron Coleman and Jesse on Fire and Nick Fuentes and Tucker, all of that stuff will be exposed. Because she can delete it all she wants. But a judge can get it directly from Verizon or whoever her carrier is. So you can delete it off that phone. But text records, you can go directly to the carrier and get. So that's what's going to happen in this Harpole lawsuit. And that is why Candace is going to instantly shoot for dismissal. When the dismissal gets shot down, that's when her attorneys are going to say, we just need to focus on bringing the settlement amount down. She does not want this to go to actual trial because then she will have to show all of her content, all of this stuff she doesn't want the people to see. And then that's going to bury Jesse on Fire and Baron Coleman and all these other people who have had conversations in private with Candace on physical media. That's all going to come out. And she's going to do everything in her power to avoid that. First, try dismissal. She'll try dismissal again. Maybe a third time, and then it's just going to have to be, look, you're going to have to settle, or this is going to go to a jury trial, which Brian has requested, and all of this stuff's going to come out in the open. And I just drank my 2-liter, and you saw it. I slipped up. Hell, I can give you a real-world example on how long it takes to clean something up. There's a town not far from here called Richlands, North Carolina. And there's a smoke shop there. It happens to be the smoke shop I stop at every night on the way home. And they had a shooting there. A guy got two people got shot. They both survived. The shooter drove his car through the front of the building. Okay? I remember I saw this pop up on Facebook. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not stopping there on the way home, right? Followed the story, found out my guys in there were okay. It was a money dispute over something. The guy's been arrested. It took forever to catch the guy, though. I had never seen so many cop cars in my life down these roads, blocking these back roads and stuff to catch this man. But they did catch him same day. It was just later on that night. But the point I'm getting at as far as the cleanup, a car went through the front of this store. People were shot in there. It was a crime scene. This store was open the next day. Business must go on no matter what happens. A school has to continue functioning no matter what happens. So cleanup, to say it was done quick, no, it wasn't done quickly. I just told you about a store that got shot up. 2 people shot in the store and it was open the next day. Those are facts. You can't take these little things that Candace says. It's like you guys probably saw, I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier or not, but next week I'm starting a series on debunking Baron Coleman's ridiculous theories. Each episode's going to be one of his theories that I'm focusing on. And here's the thing. That's another red flag for people. Baron Coleman, you're on your 8th theory. You would think that his followers would sit there and say, well, okay, so the first 7 times he was wrong. Let's listen to the 8th. And you would think, same thing with Candace. Well, it's been 8 months of this, and she's been wrong. Nothing she has said has been proven true. But let's keep listening. What is wrong with people, man? Oh, Angie, you just wait. I am tearing Baron. This first episode I'll be releasing on Monday. Oh, I have got some good stuff, man. He's an amoeba or jellyfish. He's full of something. I know that. Man, have we been going an hour already? You know what's weird? When I do my normal shows, it feels like it's forever. And that's the stuff I'm prepared for. What in the world? So what do you guys want to know, man? What do you want to see in the future with the show? You know? Because it isn't always going to be about Candace. You know, it's going to be something different every day. You know? I want to make sure I'm keeping you guys interested and entertained, but at the same time, I don't want to be a Candace and spend 8 months, which I guess technically I have spent 8 months debunking her, but not just her, you know, debunking all these other people too. But I can't. I'm telling you, I actually dislike Baron more than I dislike Candace. Because Baron's just so, I mean, well, they're both disgusting, but the way Baron addresses his audience, I think, is what bothers me the most. Telling them to get the F out if they don't like it and whatever. You know, just block them. Just block them. Don't say anything. Don't act like that on your show. Rebecca, I mean, we couldn't say it as fact, but come on. Nick Fuentes and Candace in Italy at the same time, I'd be hard pressed not to believe that they didn't cross paths. I mean, Summer, I've been interviewed on television quite a few times. I have all those news broadcasts. I need to start posting them. But yeah, there was a UFO that was over Conway, South Carolina. And some of you guys know I have a very rich background in paranormal research, ufology, cryptozoology. I've published books on paranormal research. I've been involved in paranormal research since 1997. It's not something I talk about a lot because it's not like you see on TV, you know. Anyways, there was a UFO sighting and the local news wanted to bring in an expert to say whether it was real or not, you know, talk about the apps that are creating fake UFOs, and that's what they had brought me on for, to kind of be the other side of it. But I've done a lot of news shows about hauntings and books and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of that paranormal stuff I've taken down, and I'll tell you why. I'll be completely transparent with you. You know, I was a very avid and open public paranormal researcher heavily from 1997, I would say, till about 2017. A good solid 20 years. 2018 was the last paranormal documentary I was in. And then after that, I kind of stepped back from it and only took cases every so often. It was kind of burning me out, because a lot of this stuff will start coming home with you, and it gets hard, you know, when you're talking to clients and they lost their child and they believe their child is still around the house, and you've got to sit there and tell them that it's not, you know, according to what you've concluded to, and it's hard. It's again, it's not like what you see on TV. But I was telling a friend of mine when I was starting the Fax Me thing, that was actually a concern of mine, that I thought, you know, people are going to view my work in the field of paranormal research and question Fax Me. Because when it comes to spirituality and the spiritual realm, there are people that either believe it or they don't. So the people that don't, I was afraid would view me as a cuckoo conspirator or something, and wouldn't take my Fax Me stuff serious. So I don't talk about it a lot, but I do show it here and there. I think at this point I'm at the point where I don't care, so I'll just show that stuff when I feel like it. Like, October will be a great month for Fax Me. October will be a great month for Fax Me because I've got so much content. We can do a nice scary episode, Halloween episode, whatever. Show some paranormal footage, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it takes a toll on you, man. The real stuff does anyway. When you're dealing with darker spirits and again, the emotional toll it takes on you with these families. I mean, yeah, it's tough, but I had to walk away from it for the most part. I still take private cases. It's just not as abundant anymore. A brain chip? Motley Crue, that is a great point. He says, or she said, I don't even know. You can't be a Christian and not believe in spirits. And I'm telling you, I have kind of said the same thing, just in a different way. I used to say to people all the time that the Christian Bible is the most paranormal Bible ever written. I mean, truly. The stuff that is in that book is the most paranormal stuff ever written. And if you're going to say, and that argument works both ways, because I've had this argument with family members of mine. I grew up with 4 uncles who were Baptist preachers. I attended Calvary Christian Academy. And to them, the ghost stuff, the ghost research, they didn't approve of that. They did not approve of that. And I would kind of argue with them, like, well, how can you believe Christianity and the Bible and it being the most paranormal book ever written and then try to tell me that ghosts don't exist? It's kind of a contradiction. You know what I'm saying? I get the atheist type. The atheist type they just believe you turn to dirt, your worm food, right? Which is a sad existence, but I get them not believing in the paranormal phenomena, But an agnostic person still believes in a spiritual realm. They just don't subscribe to a certain deity, Right, the Holy Ghost. I'm telling you guys, I have seen some things that it would blow your mind. And again, it's not like television where every episode there's something paranormal going on. No. Maybe for about every 100 locations you research, you come across something truly astounding. But I think paranormal television actually created more paranormal occurrences in people's homes. Now they hear that little... They hear their AC duct start going off and the flaps closing, and they think somebody's walking across their attic. Those ghost shows created more fake sightings than they did real ones. So is this the time where I'm supposed to say, make sure you guys are hitting that like button? Make sure you guys are sharing it. I see other people do that. Kind of baffles me that you have to do that. Isn't that kind of insulting to your audience? Now, I get it when you guys do it in the chat. When new people are coming in, you guys are saying, hey, subscribe and stuff like that. That's different. But for me to sit here and address you guys like you're idiots, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. If you want notifications, you're going to do it. Right? How can I be notified when Steven's about to go live? Let me click notifications. See, this is why I don't want the grifter audience. I want intelligent people that can hold conversations. Decent people. It seems like all these other influencers and podcasters they almost talk down to their audience like they're better. I don't like that, man. I've said since day one, Fax Me is a movement, and it takes all of us to be that movement. If I didn't think you guys had it in you, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. If I didn't think you were all good people, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Be outside, playing with my dogs. Which that's why I keep looking up, by the way, guys. I've got another monitor up here. It's our surveillance around our farm. I keep an eye on things. Because I am currently the only one here. My wife's with my grandson. So I'm always watching my dogs. We got a horse and goats. Fun stuff. Robin, as far as Tina, she as you can see, Tina she is fully 100% into the paranormal research. That's how I met her, actually, in 2007. I used to do speaking events. I used to tour with my books and do signings and stuff like that. And I was doing I really wanted to offer something different to people who were interested in getting into the paranormal. But I wanted them to do it the right way. I didn't want them to mock what they saw on television and think that's what you do. So I rented out the very haunted Brentwood Wine Bistro in Little River, South Carolina. It's just outside of Cherry Grove in North Myrtle Beach. And I rented out that house. That house is the most haunted place I have ever been in my life. It was the flagship story in my first book. I was in a documentary called Phantom, The Haunting of Brentwood Wine Bistro. And anyways, I decided to rent it out for 2 days over the weekend. And what I was doing is I was offering a class called Paranormal 101, where you came during the day. And, I had my screens, and we went through the steps of investigation, from using the tools to debunking things, to having to be a carpenter, having to be an electrician, having to be involved in the medical field. When I assembled my team was called the Pit Crew, which I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that was our symbol, Pit Crew. And, which is short for Paranormal Investigation Team. Anyways, I assembled my team: former law enforcement, veterans, former military, people in the medical field, electricians, carpenters, an aviator. I assembled a team of 8 and 9 people that all had different attributes. That when we would go to a house, the carpenter could debunk humidity causing a door to stick. The electrician could debunk electrical interference, stuff like that. So I would teach this class, and I was living in Myrtle Beach at the time, and my now wife showed up to this class. And the way that day went is I did a 4-hour class, everybody left, and then you would come back that night, and I would escort you through an investigation of the Brentwood Wine Bistro. And we ran that night till about 4:30 in the morning, and that's when me and my now wife became friends, and I asked her to join the team, and she was on the pit crew with the rest of us, and just one thing led to another. I ended up moving from Myrtle Beach up here to the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, and well, you know the rest. I've got her name on my arm. But that's how we met. As far as answering your question, does she get into the political stuff? Not really. She will once in a while, if she comes across an article on her newsfeed that she thinks I'd be interested in, she'll shoot it to me. I'll send her political things. Like, for instance, I found when Trump was trying to get Tina released from jail, he had made some tweet that said, "Release Tina." And I took a picture of that and I sent it to my wife. I said, "You and Trump got something going on? What's going on here? What have you done, and why is he wanting you released?" But that's about the extent. She doesn't. She's a conservative. She votes red, and but she's Christian, but she also still keeps her ties to her culture, because she is a Tuscarora Indian. So she does a lot of the saging, the incense. She does a lot of work with like deer skulls and the stereotypical Native American painting, and very, very good. She's like a horse whisperer, but she's with me. She believes in God and heaven and Jesus and Christianity, but she also still holds some of her Tuscarora beliefs, which I have no issue with because it's all for the greater good. It's nothing negative. She's not out back sacrificing goats. That's not why we have goats. Oh, this is moving fast. Oh, Motley Crue, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll send you a message about what happened. Can you guys read this too? Am I supposed to be reading this out loud? Anyways, thank you, Motley Crue. I appreciate that, man. Throwing some hearts out there. And 100. And this little blowy thing. There we go. I need to get some better emoticons, man. We need to get some... How can I hack this? We need to get some Gen X emoticons. Like, we need this. This right here, I'm also getting attacked for privately on Facebook. So many people, man. This all just takes me back to the satanic panic of the 80s. When Dungeons and Dragons came out, one psycho idiot kills somebody while playing Dungeons and Dragons and all of a sudden it's evil. This is not the sign of the devil. This is actually a sign of warding away the devil. That's why metalheads, rockers all do it. This is actually pro-God. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. You're rocking, man. You're rocking for God. You're rocking against Satan. This is to ward him off. Look it up. Anyways. Yeah, I love North Carolina. It just needs to decide on what weather it wants to be. Hector. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Hector, she never left. Thank you for that, Hector. She never left being a liberal at all. She saw the con. She said, look, just look at it this way. You can go turn on her show for 5 minutes. Watch that chat, and you will not walk out of there believing any of them are conservative, any of them believe in God. Real conservatives do not act like that. Leftists do. Leftists and liberals don't demand facts. We know this. They go by feelings. That's her entire audience. I have never once believed she was actually a conservative. Ever. I saw something else up here. Somebody said something. Yeah, North Carolina is beautiful. Oh, is Rocco a troll? What? Oh, sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up in this chat. I can get long-winded at times. I thought I saw somebody. Couple hours away, Angie. That's cool. Let's see. I could have swore I saw a question I skipped or missed or something. Maybe not. If one of you guys asked a question, just ask it again if I didn't answer it. This chat's doing that whole moving real fast thing. Yeah, it's a lot of farming around here, which is why I like it. You know, I work in Jacksonville, North Carolina, but we live in a rural area because that's just how it's got to be. Especially with all of our animals and all that kind of thing. And I definitely agree. I saw a comment earlier mentioning a spiritual war. And that's something me and Jay Witt were talking about when I had him on the show. That, do you guys remember that feeling after Charlie died? And those few days afterward, God was everywhere. God was everywhere. I saw people that I never even knew was religious posting about it. It was like, this is great, you know. Christianity, we really need it to make that comeback and be out there, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't need to be looked down upon, and nor should it be silenced. And that was the one thing. It's like after Charlie passed, it was like that's what we saw everywhere, man. It was like people are finding Jesus now. It was very moving. And then Candace started her BS and just ruined it all. She really did. Treehouse News. Yep, I've watched a lot of that, Tracy. As a matter of fact, there's actually a lot of people. You go back to those old archive websites and you watch all those old videos of some of these influencers and podcasters that aren't really out there anymore, but they were calling Candace out back then. They were. There's tons of videos like that on archive.org. That's where I got a lot of my older material for some of my videos. Actionville, North Carolina. I just now saw that. Oh man, let me tell y'all something. Jacksonville, North Carolina. You know, we are a marine town. You know, we got Camp Lejeune here, and with that comes chaos. Absolute chaos, man. I'm not going to talk bad about our Marines, man, but boy, they are Marines. Let me tell you. Talk to them every day. I've either got you know, our people coming in there, the Gen Xers and the Boomers, or Marines. That's who come in the collector's shop. So it's great, man. I'm always talking to great people. I'm always hearing these stories from the Marines, and it warms my heart when they're coming in there buying comic books and action figures, and they're 20. So it's like, all right, this is what I like to see. That's awesome, Yuck Tube. Thank you for your service, man. No, that was the point I was getting at. Eclipse Truth is there is a spiritual war going on, and I tell you, I feel good about it. I think we got this. I really do, and I think we're starting to see that. You know, Evie, there's so many directions to take that because you can't trust anything Candace has said. You know, she has told these stories different ways, multiple times. You know, I came out with her what could be her real name and her real age, which when you look at the pictures of that lawsuit in 2008, she looked 14. And the person that was threatening her was 14. That makes sense. But in other interviews, she says she moved out at 14 and moved in with her boyfriend. And then there's another one that says, no, she moved out at 16 and moved in with her grandparents. It's like, this woman does not. Consistency is not a word that she understands. Susie, I've been racking my brain about why. Because the fact of the matter is, if she was 18 when that lawsuit happened, she wouldn't have needed her dad to file it. So that leads me to believe there's a lot of validity to her birthday being 1993, which would have made her 14 at that time of the lawsuit. And she does. It describes Erica as older. That was another good point. No, not at all. She looks like a 14-year-old girl in that picture with the media over that lawsuit. And again, if she was 18 like she said she was, she wouldn't have needed her father to file the lawsuit. She could have just done it. So I definitely think we're on to something. And getting those screenshots that I mentioned earlier in today's show from Reddit of her using in the past the Candace Ramey moniker. I think we've got it. I think we've got it. And it makes sense because if you change your name everywhere to Candace A. Owens and people are looking things up, they're only going to find things on Candace A. Owens. But now we've got alternate alias names to go by to dig even further. And the amount of... I don't even know how to word it. Looking up her family, I told you guys I wasn't... They're not in this fight. I'm not going to expose them, but the amount of times these people are in court, from misdemeanor charges to felony charges, theft, DUIs, it's like I can't find a single family member of hers with a clean record. I'm sorry to hear that, Angie. It really does. I don't eat that stuff anyway, Summer. I only do fast food when it's like an absolute must. Like we're out traveling and there's not something for another 100 miles or something and you got to eat. But even then, I don't like it. I find it hard to believe that the White House doesn't already have a bunker. They might not publicly have a bunker, but you can cool best believe there's probably an entire town underneath that house. Now, I have nothing to base this on, but I was told by a family member of mine who retired from the government that the White House, underneath the White House, they actually have a direct line, a direct tunnel to Mount Pleasant. Is it Mount Pleasant? What am I thinking of? Not Mount Pleasant, guys. Help me out. It's in Virginia. Come on, guys. Help me out. What is that? I'm drawing a blank. My stroke brain's kicked in. But anyways, it's built into the mountain. Mount Weather. Mount Weather. There, it finally came to me. Stroke went away. Mount Weather is an entire city in there. And what I was told by a former government official, again, this isn't verified. This just could be a story, but there is a direct tunnel from the White House with transportation to Mount Weather. If we were ever to get nuked or have a threat of nuclear warfare, or for some reason the president has to leave, and they take the scientists, the doctors, our high-profile politicians to Mount Weather to repopulate the earth after the zombie apocalypse. I would much rather them take, like, fighters. Farmers. Doctors are good. Doctors, farmers, carpenters. Take people that can rebuild society. Not a bunch of politicians. Yeah, Mindy, I had a stroke in 2013, and it really screwed me up neurologically to where sometimes I can't enunciate properly. Sometimes I get a lazy tongue. Sometimes my head just blanks, which sucks. But it seems to get better and better as the years go by. It's just something I deal with. Caitlin, with the body footage information, I didn't talk about it much. As far as what Caitlin's asking is, there was a rumor about getting the body cam footage of George Farmer when he had that DUI and that weapon and ran from police. Well, a lot of people were looking into it, Laura Loomer and some other people. You have to pay to get that footage. However, from what I discovered, whether or not it's true or not, but when I started researching it, I came to the conclusion that the footage no longer exists. In an email, I was told that they only keep that footage up until, and in that particular area, I don't know if this is everywhere, if all law enforcement does this or not, but they only keep that footage up until and after court. And then supposedly it's deleted. I personally would never delete that kind of stuff. I mean, they keep 911 calls forever, so why would you delete body cam footage? I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but nothing has surfaced from it. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to read through these comments. This is the first time I'm doing an episode like this and trying to be fair with everybody. You know, Yuck, that's kind of, I don't know if that's what your comments made me think of this. You know, that's something that Candace could have done that would have made all the difference. That would have made all the difference. If she would have came out with sincerity that she wanted to, for whatever reason, investigate this assassination. Okay? She is the one that started all this questioning the federal narrative to begin with. And that's why everybody else is. But if she would have just came out and said, look, I am researching this. As I come across things of note, I'll bring them up during my shows. And I'm going to turn off monetization. Because it's not right. He was my best friend. I loved him so much. Blah, blah, blah. But to make $60 million off the guy, that's just, that says everything that needs to be said. 80s girl, thank you. You know, 80s girl, I'm starting to think that too. I am absolutely starting to think that too. Because we know that Candace can be bought easily. Oh my gosh, her whole life is money. Period. Absolutely. So I would not be surprised. Now, who's doing it? That's where we come down to. Is it John Mappin? Is he the one doing it? Because when you look at this one or two people flipping or changing your opinion, that's one thing. I change my opinion on things. We all grow up. We all, change as we grow up. I've changed my position on quite a few things. But to have Candace, Tucker, Megan, Fuentes, Jesse, all these people all at once, right? It does seem very organized. Very organized. So I would not be surprised if there was some kind of financing behind it to try to influence the weaker-minded right. I don't have any proof of that, but I would believe it. I would 100% believe it. Yeah, Debbie, that's true too. You have to be a Tennessee resident. Yeah, I'm kind of with you too, mapping. Yeah, a lot goes back to mapping. Tracy, the timeline's a little weird on that there are quite a few events that George was at that Candace did back in 2018, 19. Some of the stuff isn't clearly dated, because she supposedly met him for the first time when they went to the UK. But there are other things that contradict that. So I don't know. Guys, that's another thing. When I was talking earlier, I don't know if you guys caught this, but, I don't hate Candace. I don't hate these people. I hate what they're doing, but I don't hate them. And like you guys have said in the chat, I've prayed for her. I've prayed for Erica. I prayed for Tucker. I pray for, just because it's hard for me to fathom that there can be people that evil. Like, it just seems like it's out of a movie to me. No conscience there whatsoever. Oh, Marks is out. He's done. He's toast. It's over. We were talking about that earlier in this episode, that it just goes to show you the lack of influence that Candace, Tucker, and other people think they have. They don't have it. They were out there, platforming this guy, and just in just a matter of days, me and an onslaught of other conservative podcasters just went to town on Marks. Or not Marks. I'm sorry. I'm reading chat messages. You know what I'm talking about. We went to town on him. Everybody. And I mean, his chances of winning that Kentucky, it just boom, down, gone, over in a couple days. But Victor Marks, I'd like to talk to personally. I'm actually in the middle of talking to, I started talking to one of his family members this morning. They approached me, which is awesome. Okay. They approached me, commending me on the video I did about Victor. So I'm going to keep digging with that and see if I can get this person on the show. I think you guys would really enjoy that. I was shocked. One of my messages was from this individual and said, hey, I'm related to him, and I really appreciate what you've done, and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, hey, why don't you come on the show? I haven't checked that message. We'll see. They really are. They really are. It just goes to show you that what I have always said about that whole crew, Candace and the Grifters, is when it comes down to it, they are tailoring to an audience that doesn't even matter. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't even matter. They aren't the people that vote, that make the important decisions. They don't contribute to our society. They are the people that do not matter. And the place they found is with Candace and the Grifters. So they could preach all they wanted about, hey, you've got to get this guy in, you've got to get mapping in, you got to get this guy, and none of it mattered, because what they say doesn't matter to the people that actually matter. That's what it boils down to. No, Angie, I think she hated Charlie. I think she was just using Charlie like she did everybody else. I mean, look at the pattern. We've talked about it dozens of times. Alex Jones used him, gets the axe. Then she went against him. Went to Charlie, used him, gets the axe. Then she went against him. Ben Shapiro used him. He gave her her own show, which without Ben Shapiro, that show would have never even happened. He fires her, or Daily Wire fires her. She turns against him. It's a pattern over and over and over again. And I don't care. It's like Jay Witt said when I had Jay Witt on my show. If you're best friends with somebody, you are not going years without any kind of communication. Period. Now, if you're going to be cool like Fax Me, you got to drink straight from the 2-liter. I know. Let me tell you why I'm drinking straight from this 2-liter. Because my cat has been on one today. And I was not going to set a cup here. You may have seen him a few times. Pop in. He likes to do that when I'm on this show. Hey, Get Out was a good movie. I like that movie. I'm pretty excited about Young Guns 3. I'm very, very, very curious as to how that's going to play off. Because my favorite historical character of all time is Billy the Kid. Love Billy the Kid. William H. Bonney. And Young Guns. Young Guns is my favorite movie of all time. And the fact that they're all getting together for a third one is exciting. I'll just be curious to see how they're going to play that off of the legend of Billy the Kid. Yeah, some of you might remember a couple months back, I called it. I said, I think what we are witnessing in real time is a changing of the guard. And the guard I'm referring to, the current podcasters and streamers and commentators. We're seeing a change in the guard. The Megyn Kellys, the Tucker Carlsons, the Alex Jones, the Candace Owens, they're getting replaced. That's what's happening. Thank you. I have so many antiques. You probably see this. This is an old antique. It's like from 1863 Underwood typewriter. I've got so much stuff. God. Antiques, vintage toys, comic books. Got one of those old phones with the thing. I don't know, celebrity scares. I don't know. When you watch old videos, I feel bad for Charlie. I really do. Because she snowed him, man. She snowed all of us. There were so many people that thought that, she was going to be, on the path of being like a Condoleezza Rice. And no, she was just a con man. And now all of that's out. You can't erase history. She's never going to have a chance to recuperate. She's never going to have a chance to bounce back. It's like you've just cried wolf way too many times. Guys, I really appreciate those donations today. I was not expecting that. Oprah, that's another one. She needs to just. There's so many people. They just need to deport. It's like that. I'm sorry. That should just be a thing to me. If you are constantly spending your days hating on the very country you live in, to me that should be some kind of level of treason. Not an extreme level. But you clearly don't like it here. You don't want to live here. Leave. You should be asked to leave then. If you are literally going against the very country you live in, you should be out of here. Period. Just start with the left. Just start with them. Put them in some third world country because that's what they're trying to make this one. So clearly that's what they want. Let them go over to some other country and really find out what having no freedom is about. And then maybe we'll let you back in if you survive. Which they won't. I know it. And I think that one video that Milk Bar TV did, which I've used, is such a... It says everything that needs to be said. Okay, because we all know Candace uses somebody to platform her, then she's done with them. Uses somebody to platform her, then she's done with them, right? And when Charlie died, and you can go and you can watch and see it for yourself, Candace was nothing but supportive of Turning Point USA. Nothing but supportive of Erica Kirk. She was actually telling her fans, leave Erica alone. Leave Turning Point alone. But the only reason she was doing all that, this was like the first week after Charlie had died, was because she thought she was going to get a position within Turning Point. She thought Erica wasn't going to be able to handle it and was going to come running to her and George. Well, that never happened. And then it's like a light switch. She flips. And you guys, if you've never seen that video, I have it here on my channel. It's called The Tale of Two Candaces. The Tale of Two Candaces. You will see the first half of her nothing but supportive of Erica and Turning Point, and then that transition to all hate and conspiracy and everything else, because she found out she wasn't going to get something out of it. That video right there explains everything. That's absolutely right, Michelle. Not a lick of truth. Not a lick of proof. That's what blows my mind. And I don't know if it's ego with her fans or just they don't want to admit they're wrong. I don't get it. I don't get it because, like I said earlier in today's show, just go to one of her episodes. Take one thing that she says and then go Google it or go put it in the Chat GPT or Grok or something. Is this true? And then put the quote from Candace Owens, and it's going to tell you it's not. It's going to tell you what the truth is. Why aren't people doing that? It's like they don't want to know. They're loving this thrill. Thank you, my friend. Gazelle? Is that how you say that? Gazelle D? Gazelle? It's very time consuming, man. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it, you know. I feel that I have a purpose. And that's why I'm working as hard as I am, guys, you know. My wife knows it. She sees it. She's like, you're burning yourself out. I'm not stopping. I'm not. I feel like I have a purpose. You know, I'm not going to be the only one. There's a lot of great people out there. I think there's a lot of new upcomer, you know, whatever, that's taking on this stuff and becoming the new wave of streamers, the new guard, like I said. And, you know, I don't ever see myself on the level of, like, Paramount Tactical or some of these bigger shows. I don't know, maybe one day. I don't know. But I'm not stopping, man. I love to research. I've always been an investigator at heart, whether it be paranormal investigating, whether it be political investigating, journalism, whatever, you know. I love people. I love God. And to take that and try to build a positive platform for people where people can come and speak freely, you know, kind of taking what Charlie did, going out and about with the colleges and the universities, but having a platform where people can have that same respect as long as you show respect. You know, you come in, you talk, here's your opinion. You know, I don't take anything you guys say as an insult. You know, you guys are giving me criticism all the time. You know, hey, that music in the background is distracting when you're talking, or hey, there's some criticisms I can never appease. Okay, there's some of you that we just want the reels, we just want the short videos, and the other half we like the long form videos. So I just do a mix. I try to do a mix. Summer, you about to get banned from the chat. Summer, you are about to get banned from the chat. Okay? I need you to take that back. Maybe you let's just say you misspelled don't. And you meant do. I do watch Star Wars. Just take it back, man. Just take it back. We're trying to keep it positive in the chat. I'm just playing. You know, my wife has never one time watched a Star Wars movie. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I lied. I take that back. I did get her dragged out to The Force Awakens because I was super stoked that Harrison Ford was back, because Harrison Ford's my dude. So she did see that one. I think she fell asleep, though. Star Wars is a special breed, guys. It's a special breed. And no, Summer, you're not getting banned. Just so you know, that's just I deal with the people that come into my store, and there's the Trekkies, which see I'm not a Trekkie. I cannot get into Star Trek. Then there's the Star Wars people, and it's like two different breeds, man. I see it every day. Most of them are single, but hey, it is what it is. Susie, thank you so much for that. Feeling vibes and hunches are not evidence. That is the absolute truth. Susie, I've got a t-shirt for Fax Me that says evidence, not episodes. So that sums up exactly what you're saying there. Feelings, vibes, and hunches are not evidence. That's why here at Fax Me we say evidence, not episodes. Oh, now the Eclipse Truth is just twisting the life. I don't watch Star Wars either. You know what? Screw you guys. Screw you guys. What about Indiana Jones? You know, Indiana Jones is one of my favorites. Loved Indiana Jones. The Goonies, The Lost Boys. Yeah, I'm dating myself. Those were the movies, man. Look, y'all are going to quit this Star Wars hate right now. You see what you've done? Now, I'll be honest with you. I thought the new movies were crap. The new movies were crap. Although I think I'm one of the few that actually enjoyed The Last Jedi. Everybody hated on it. But I just loved that huge throwdown scene at the end with Skywalker and Kylo Ren. I thought that was awesome. Anyways, I'm not a geek, I swear. That's right, Summer. Educate, don't fabricate. You know what's funny? Here's a little piece of trivia from that phrase. Educate, don't fabricate. When I decided to bring my paranormal research public in 2007, I did it through a show called Monster Vision TV. Not the Monster Vision TV with Billy Bob Briggs or whatever his name is. Monster Vision TV was all one word. It was a paranormal show. And that was the tagline. Because I was very anti ghost shows, the ghost hunting shows, Ghost Hunters, Paranormal State, especially Ghost Adventures. God knows. I was so against them because they're fabricating stuff. And I came up with that tagline, educate, don't fabricate. That was actually for paranormal research, believe it or not. And when I decided I really wanted to, because I've always been political, man. I was like the Michael P. Keaton growing up, but a metalhead version, really. It confused so many people because most musicians aren't very political people. You know what I mean? And if they are, they're like liberals. And that's not good. But I was so political growing up, man. I was that 8-year-old sitting there, or 6-year-old sitting there watching Reagan on TV, you know. And I always wanted to get into the political side of things online and the social commentary, and the opportunity just never presented itself. But like I said, something hit last August, man, and I just felt like I had to, and here we are. So yeah. Oh, I love older monster movies. Horror is my favorite genre, and one day I'm going to go over my horror collection. I've got like the #1 issues of Nightmare on Elm Street, Pinhead, signed by Doug Bradley. I've got Freddy Krueger's real claw, the real one. So much horror memorabilia, guys. I've got thought I had it close by. I would show it to you, but I moved it because I'm ordering a display case for it. But Kirk Hammett, the guitar player for Metallica, he holds one of the largest horror collections in the world. And he put out a book called All About Horror that was like a tour of his house and all of his horror stuff. Well, a friend of mine went and saw Kirk at a con in New York. And as a guitar player and as a Metallica fan, he knew that I loved Kirk Hammett. And, of course, I love horror. So he had bought Kirk's book off of him and had him sign it for me. So I've got that here. But I ordered a nice glass case for it to set down in to keep it protected, keep the humidity level the way it should be. so it doesn't get destroyed. Kind of like a humidor in a sense, the other way. But yeah, the old horror movies, I love it all. I love it all from the B-50s, not the B-52s, the B-50, the 50s movies, the B movies, you know, the stuff that Mystery Science Theater makes fun of, all the way up through all of 80s horror. And modern horror, I like the independent stuff. That whole Conjuring crap, I just can't get into because I know for a fact Ed and Lorraine Lauren were frauds, and so I just can't get into the whole Conjuring thing. But Rob Zombie stuff I'm kind of hit and miss with. I've liked some of it, but then there's others I just thought he was being extreme just for the sake of being extreme. But yeah, I'm looking at all my Chucky dolls over there. Coast to Coast. I was on Coast to Coast AM a long time ago. Twice. If you're talking about my paranormal books, the first one was called Paranormal Investigator. That one dropped in 2009. Then the second one was also titled Paranormal Investigator, but had the subtitle True Case Files of a Paranormal Investigator. A few years after that, to close out that 3-book deal, I did a book called Dark Spirits, which was initially called Testaments of the Supernatural, and the publisher changed the names to be more appealing to people. And then I released Norman the Haunted Doll, then Norman the Haunted Doll 2. Then I released a book for kids called Kid Paranormal, which was teaching young teens how to investigate safely, not to mimic the stuff they see on TV. And then, of course, I've released my first political book back in December, The Blue Playbook Conservative. But, lucky for me, after I got established as an author, I bought all the rights to all my books back. Because, like I said, my publisher with the paranormal books, I would have like 100,000 words per book because it was the scientific method. And I wanted everything to be clear and concise, and they would cut them down to about 45,000 words. And that pissed me off. And they would change the covers and change the titles for marketing purposes. But then I bought all the rights back. And I'm actually currently in a lawsuit with a AI company, and that I'll keep you guys posted on. I can't talk a lot about it for obvious reasons, but 2 of my books, the Norman the Haunted Doll and Norman 2, were pirated through this company, and then this company sold them to an AI company to study. And I wasn't the only author they did this with. There was 250,000 books total that this company sold to an AI company to research and base their AI method off of. And anyways, we're looking like we're going to win the suit because we all lost a lot of money off of that. But I'll keep you guys posted on that when I can actually talk about it. Yeah, I agree with that, 80s girl. They're more than just similar in that energy too. I think their lifestyle and the way they view life. Candace, Andrew Tate, George Farmer, they're it's a lifestyle. Yeah, Candace is a horror movie. She's more of those, like one of those psychotic psychological thriller movies. Yeah, The Eclipse, I can take it either way. I admire the horror that is more story based. You know, like the first Alien, fantastic. You hardly ever saw the xenomorph, and that was part of the suspense. That was part of the thrill. Jaws, phenomenal. You hardly ever saw the shark. That wasn't on purpose. That was due to technical problems they were having, but it worked. You know, It's what you don't see to me that makes a great scary movie, especially when the writing's on the wall. But stuff like Freddy and Chucky, that's more comedy to me. Yeah, it's there's horror and there's blood and stuff, but it's more comedy than anything. You know, the gore stuff, I'm not against it. It's just it needs to be. I view gore like I view sex scenes in movies. I don't think sex scenes are necessary in movies unless it's part of the narrative. You know, you don't need to see it. You can imply it. They go into the bedroom and the door closes and it fades to black. Guess what they just did? You figured it out. You don't need to see 5 minutes of it on the screen. You know, and I think like the horror movies that do the kills offline or off screen or they stumble upon the person and find them dead. That stuff's scarier to me than when they actually sit there for 20 minutes and show this torture scene. You know what I mean? That's not horror to me. That's shock and gore. True horror is not knowing. That's what makes it scary. The mystery behind it. Not having the answers. Yeah. But stuff like Saw and Hostel, I don't consider those horror movies. I just consider those very dark, gory thrillers. Candace reminds me of a lot of movies. And not good ones. Yeah, Aliens. I really dug Aliens. I even liked Alien 3. I know a lot of people crap on it, but I loved all the Alien movies. Rasma, I cannot believe you just said that. Do I know you personally? Yes or no? I have a story about Trilogy of Terror. Trilogy of Terror is the very reason I am obsessed with horror movies and horror memorabilia. Now, let me tell you why. When I was 5 years old, my father was using the clicker and stumbled upon this movie called Trilogy of Terror. Now, that little tiki puppet, oh, okay, I was 5 years old, and I sat there and I watched him with that, and it scared the living crap out of me. I wouldn't sit on a couch. I was afraid that thing was going to pop up through the couch. I'm telling you, man, it traumatized me at 5 years old. So I came to the belief that in order to beat my fear of that little tiki bastard, I was just going to engulf myself in horror. So I became so desensitized, nothing would bother me. And that's exactly what happened. I started watching every horror movie I could find, reading horror novels, Stephen King, Ray Bradbury, whatever. Clearly went into paranormal investigation in 1997, after having my own paranormal experience. So I surrounded myself with everything that movie scared me of in order to beat it. And now I'm just completely desensitized from all of it. All because of Trilogy of Terror. That's funny you brought that up. Well, my friends, I think I'm going to bring this thing to a close. I said I'd go 2 hours, and it has just flown by, sitting here talking with you guys. If you liked this, please let me know in the chat. It's not something I would do every day, but maybe once every 2 weeks or, whatever. Just do a loose conversation with each other. If you guys like that, please say, yeah, do it again, or we didn't care for it. Go back to your normal stuff. This was crap. Whatever. My wife just got in the door, so I want to get an update on my grandson, see how that's going. And then I've got to get my newest dog, Remington, to the vet. It's his first vet visit this afternoon. He's got the fear of the doctor, like his daddy does. But yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out. I appreciate the donations, guys. You were awesome. I mean, that just made my day. That's the most I've ever seen. I appreciate that. And yes, I will do this again. Like I said, we'll just maybe make it an every Wednesday thing or every other Wednesday. Just a loose thing, man, where I can just turn on the camera and we can just have conversations, talk about whatever. Get to know each other better. We're a family here. We're the family of factivists. Because the families that factigate together stay together. Maybe I should go back to researching material before we do this show. I don't know. But guys, I'll give you all an update on my Facebook page as to the condition of my grandson. I appreciate, again, all of your prayers and support for that. And I'll let you know if my dog Remington survived the vet today. He's just getting his first standard shots. Shouldn't be a big deal. But I will catch y'all throughout the day on social media, and I'll be back with my normal live tomorrow. I'm going to be disavowing Candace's recent live with Victor, and I'll keep you updated on his family member that approached me. Hopefully I can get them on this show. And I will let you know if... not Tracy Chapman, if April gets back to me about coming on the show. I know you guys would enjoy that. But I'll keep you updated on everything, guys. I want to thank you all again. Hope you all have a great day. And I will be talking at you all soon.